Good morning, everyone. We're going to start our meeting of June 11th. Welcome to the Santa Barbara County Planning Commission of June 11th, and we begin our agendas with a salute to the flag, if you'll join us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. Mr. Villalobos, do you want to announce our TV coverage announcement and proceed with roll call as well?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to the Commission. Planning Commission hearings are televised live on County of Santa Barbara Television, CSB TV, Channel 20 at 9 a.m. in the South Coast, Lompoc, Santa Ynez Valley, Santa Maria, and Orcutt areas. Rebroadcasts of Planning Commission hearings are on Fridays at 5 p.m. on CSB TV, Channel 20. Today's hearing will also be streamed live on the county's website as well as the county's YouTube channel and will be available for download in a day or two. Should I move on to roll call?
Please.
Great. Commissioner Cooney.
Here.
Commissioner Park.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here.
Commissioner Martinez.
Here.
And Chair Bradley.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Our agenda status report. Mr. Wilson, do you have a report?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, in regards to the status of our agenda today, we have only one item on our standard agenda, which is the project related to the FAMCON business in the Orcutt area. So it's a development plan. There's several entitlements associated with that. It's my understanding that the applicant and the planner are available and ready to present on that today.
Thank you. And moving on to our projection report, how about that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Looking at our projection report, we're beginning our summer break, it looks like. We've canceled the series of hearings, and we will reconvene on July 9th. There's currently one project projected for that, which is a development plan, CDP, in the Isla Vista area, and that hearing will be held in Santa Barbara. And then after July 9th, we won't be back together again until July 30th, and that will be again in Santa Barbara. On July 30th, there's two items. There's the Brig Barn Winery Tier 3 project, and then there's a housing development project in the Lompoc area that's it's the Constellation Land Development project. So that's, again, that hearing is scheduled to be in Santa Barbara. And then that's as far as we've projected out until we get down to, that's it. I'm sure we'll be adding things for the rest of the year.
Wow. The new world of light agendas. Okay, did anyone have any questions? I'm not seeing any. And then let's move on to our public comment portion of the agenda. If anyone is in the room and wants to address the Planning Commission on matters not otherwise agendized for today, this is the opportunity to do so. We give you 3 minutes. Is there anyone? I have no slip for that purpose, but is there anyone online, Mr. Villalobos?
I have a slip here.
Just please start with your name. Thank you.
My name is Karen Howenstein. I have handouts here too. I'd like to submit for the record and also give to each of you. Can I do that?
I think as long as we have a copy for, yeah, I think so. As long as we have a copy for the clerk.
I understood you had to have 9 copies. How many copies do you need? Okay, there you go. Okay. The reason why I'm here today, Karen Howenstein, I'm from North County, from the Lompoc area. Specifically, what I'm talking about today is the way that the Planning Commission handled a request that was brought through this woman, Susan Ashbrook, who is my neighbor in Sabata Canyon, for over 20 years. She's our immediate neighbor. My parents own 3 parcels in Sabata Canyon that comprise 410 acres. And about 2 years ago, this woman brought the rooster ordinance. You guys remember the rooster ordinance that came through planning?
It didn't come to us.
That's what they reported to me at Board of Supervisors. It didn't come through planning?
So,
To the planning commission.
so Madam Chair and Commissioners, we're not agendized to talk about this, so
Okay.
ma'am,
Well, it's public comment. so-
you can do public comment, but we aren't agendized to have a conversation, discussion, so you can present your material during 3 minutes. If the commission decides to agendize an item, they can. But
'Cause I
this
need-
isn't about question and answers.
Okay, I'm really in search of information because I was told by the Board of Supervisors at the dais that the Planning Commission was the one who considered this rooster ordinance. And what needs to be noted, and I have to find out if they were telling me the truth, because the way this rooster ordinance is being used now is to target my elderly father. My 85-year-old father, who's still in our home, has been fined $79,975. He's been fined by animal control $79,979, and they're not tracking it to any of the APNs or the address where our ranch is, where the tenants, the agricultural tenants that my family had on the property were keeping various farm animals, including roosters and chickens. They are tracking his fine to another property that he owns in Lompoc. Yes, and so I'm investigating this, and I did go to the Board of Supervisors about it, and they referred me to that it started in planning, that this came through planning. So I need to find out the answer to that question. So who do I go to?
So, Madam Chair and Commissioners, as I indicated, we're not agendized to discuss this, but just for informational purposes, this is an animal services ordinance. It is not a planning ordinance. We recommend that,
Ms. Hazelstein?
yeah, Ms. Hazelstein,
Hazelstein.
coordinate with the animal services. This didn't come through planning, and this is not our ordinance. So I recommend her talking to Lars Seifert at Animal Services.
Did you get that name, Lars Seifert?
No, I need her name because I am going to have to go and dig into this directly.
Right, because there's nothing.
It's resulting in things that I'm not sure if an organized body intended.
So, Madam Chair, we can coordinate with the speaker offline.
Okay.
Would you? Can I give you my contact information after the meeting? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I see no other public comment slips, and there's no one online. So that concludes our public comment item, and that brings us to our Planning Commission informational reports for the commissioners. Does anybody have anything to share? Seeing none, okay, then we move on to item number 8, our director's report. Do we have Ms. Plowman in the Ethernet, or are we?
You do. Good morning.
She's omnipresent. There she is.
Live and in person. Well, not in person. So I have a very brief report today. We only had one item that was at the board yesterday that was a joint item between the Ag Commissioner's Office, the Assessor's Office, and Planning and Development. The Board of Supervisors had requested an update on the Williamson Act and just information about how properties enter into contract, what those contracts mean, how people fall out of contract, and the process that surrounds those ag preserve contracts. So that was provided yesterday, and it was just a receive and file. And so if you're interested in that, you can certainly access the board letter that is on the clerk of the board's website. Or if you are interested, you can give me a call, and I'm happy to give you more detail about it. There may be some interest on the board's part of making some tweaks to the uniform rules with respect to the review of contracts and getting property owners to actually provide information, the annual information that we request to ensure they're in compliance with their contract. So we've had a pretty steep decline in response rates, and so we're going to be working on, I think the Ag Commissioner is going to be working on a way to correct that so we can get more information from property owners. And then the only thing I have else to remind you is that the budget hearings are next week on the 17th and 18th of June. And then our future items are the emergency shelters on June 24th, G&K appeal on July 1st, and the mobile home park overlay on July 15th. And that's all I have today. Happy to answer
Okay,
any
thank you very much. Any commissioner questions? Not seeing any. Thank you, Director Plowman.
All right, take care.
Thanks. Okay, that brings us to our standard agenda. Mr. Villalobos, do you want to read that into the record?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The following is a hearing on the request of Steve Penza to consider the following. Case number 23 GPA 1, 23 RZN 1, case number 23 DVP 16, and to adopt the mitigated negative declaration, case number 24 NGD 11, and adopt the mitigation monitoring program.
Thank you. And as a land development item, we have a Brown Act disclosure here. If anyone needs to talk to people, this is the time to disclose that. Commissioner Park?
Yes, I spoke about this matter with Gilray Macon a few weeks ago.
Okay, Commissioner Reed?
Yeah, I had a Zoom meeting with Guillory Macon last week about the project.
Okay. Mr. Martinez?
Yes, I received a text message from Guillory Macon, but was unable to respond to it. But I also spoke with a gentleman by the name of Vince Lopez regarding the matter.
Okay, and I also had a message from Gary Macon, but did not actually follow up with a phone call. I had no questions, so. Okay, that's our disclosures. We start with our staff report. Mr. Connors.
Good morning, Commissioners and Chair Bradley. I'm Steve Connor, and I'll be presenting this project on behalf of Planning and Development staff.
I think you just, do you want to read the slide?
The project before you today is a request for a proposed development plan to allow construction and operation of a pipe and supply business, along with the requisite general plan amendment to the Orchid Community Plan and a rezone. As shown on the overview map to the left, the proposed pipe and supply development will be located on 2 vacant parcels at 1350 Founders Avenue, just south of the Santa Maria Way interchange on the eastern side of Highway 101. As shown on the aerial photo to the right, the site can be accessed from Founders Avenue off Morningside Drive, which is a frontage road between the site and Highway 101. The neighboring parcels immediately east and north of the site are also vacant. The site parcels form a U-shape around an inset of parcels that contain an existing pet grooming business, which was previously a highway patrol station. The Elks Rodeo Event Center is located south and east of the site, and the Mark Richardson Career Technical Education Center and Agricultural Farm is located northeast of the site. Here are some existing site photos that depict the vacant parcels. The photo on the left is looking north from the approximate location of the proposed building. The photo on the right is looking northwest toward the existing pet grooming business from the southern portion of the site. And here are 2 more photos looking from the southwest and northeast toward the existing pet grooming business and the existing technical school, respectively. As mentioned in the first slide, the request before your commission includes a general plan amendment, rezone, and development plan. A rezone is needed because the proposed project includes an outdoor storage and sales use that is not allowed in the highway commercial zone district, but it is allowed in the general commercial C3 zone district. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a zone district change from highway commercial to general commercial. The general plan land use designation must be consistent with the zone district, so a general plan amendment is also needed to change the land use designation. An adjustment to the urban-rural boundary is also needed because the site and surrounding parcels are outside of the urban boundary. Rural lands are generally limited to agriculture and related uses, whereas wholesale and heavy commercial uses and services such as the proposed project are allowed within the urban boundary. A development plan is required for new structures and/or outdoor storage sales areas which total 20,000 square feet or more. As detailed in Section 3 of the staff report, this project application is coming before your commission for consideration prior to providing a recommendation of approval, conditional approval, or denial to the Board of Supervisors. The land use designation and urban boundary changes will be reflected by amendments to the Comp 1 map in the land use element as shown as in the next slides. In addition, the general plan amendment will modify 2 Orchid community plan policies that are specific to Key Site 33, which encompasses the site and surrounding parcels. The first policy is related to the urban-rural boundary, and the amendment clarifies that the boundary adjustments will apply to parcels that are served by existing public water and sewer utilities. The second policy will be amended to update information related to parcel numbers. As shown here, the boundary adjustment will redesignate the site and surrounding highway commercial properties as urban lands. This designation allows the subject parcels to be used for the pipe and supply business, and this is a complementary use to the existing technical school because there are likely synergistic opportunities for students to gain practical experience with a large supplier of agricultural irrigation materials and technology. This area also already contains urban services such as water and sewer infrastructure, which were installed prior to the opening of the technical school in 2021. As previously stated, the proposed outdoor storage is not allowed in the highway commercial zone. Therefore, a rezone of the site is required, as shown here. The proposed development plan will create a level site pad with retaining walls to accommodate the structure, parking, site circulation, outdoor storage area, and underground stormwater detention basin. There will be 8 employees, and the hours of operation will be from 6:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Landscaping will create a buffer to create the structure, to screen the structure, outdoor storage materials, and park vehicles from public viewpoints along Morningside Drive and Highway 101. This site plan depicts the proposed development plan, which includes the warehouse building, shown in blue here, the outdoor storage area, shown in orange dash outline, the parking lot area, shown in green, the access driveways, shown by red arrows, including an egress driveway for accessing the parking lot from Founders Avenue, and an egress-only driveway to allow supply trucks to exit from the storage area on the Morningside Drive. The underground detention basin, shown in purple, will be created under the outdoor storage area on the southern portion of the site. And finally, in consistency with the Orchid Community Plan requirement for visual screening of the development on the site, the proposed landscaping will include a 50-foot buffer to be installed along Morningside Drive, as shown in dark green. In terms of identified environmental impacts, traffic was not a concern, and the project is not expected to generate a lot of trips because there will only be 8 employees. As just described, the visual impacts will be minimized by the buffer and landscaping depicted on the site plan. The project will not extend public utilities or roads because the site is already served by existing urban infrastructure. The Orchid Community Plan EIR contemplated uses such as gas stations, motels, and restaurants within the Key Site 33 area, so urban commercial uses are already allowed on and around the site. The project will include fire protection features such as implementation of a defensible space plan and the use of fire-resistant building materials. An underground stormwater detention basin will be constructed to address site erosion and runoff, and the final basin design and geotechnical engineering study will be reviewed by Public Works and Building and Safety. The environmental document was circulated for a 30-day public review period. No comments were received. The project is consistent with policies regarding availability of adequate services, aesthetics, visual resources, and compatibility with surrounding development, air quality, water resources, noise, and circulation. The project is also consistent with height, setback, and parking regulations, including development standards and requirements for the C3 zone district, development plans, and design review. The design was reviewed by the North Board of Architectural Review on November 17th, 2023, and April 25th, 2025. And the applicant will be required to return to INBAR for preliminary and final approval of the project. So in summary, staff recommends that you recommend the Board of Supervisors make the required findings for approval included in Attachment A, determine that the mitigated negative declaration is adequate, adopt the resolutions, and approve the project subject to the conditions included as Attachment B. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff and the applicant team are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Questions, Commissioner Reed?
Right, thank you. I mean, that was a very complete presentation. I like that answered almost all the questions I'd had, although I will, and as I said, go through some, have them reiterated. I think it's nice to see a piece of property that has remained, off the rolls, actually somewhat derelict after Dr. Icola's plans fell by the wayside, to see it, the prospects of it coming back to a higher and better use. So I like that. I just noticed prior, 2023, April 12th, the Planning Commission, before my time, had made some observations and requests about the project, one of which had to do with getting approvals from neighbors. And I noticed you have 2 out of 3 that affirmed it. The remaining one did not. So applicant has decided to not refine their request for rezoning and amendment of the general plan. Could you just describe that?
Commissioner Reed, through the chair, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so they have refined it to just affect the immediate footprint of their project.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other request the Planning Commission had made at that time has been satisfied?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and with respect to the extension of the urban-rural boundary, it's my understanding that ultimately that's going to be extended as the need for additional housing is going to be extending to the hilly area surrounding that whole property. So that extension, in my understanding so far, isn't really very significant. And correct?
Commissioner Reed, as we discussed yesterday, I believe you mentioned the city. We weren't aware of the city's plans for expanding urban boundary.
Yeah.
But and we, not to my knowledge, we haven't been approached by the
Okay,
city.
I know it's not immediately planned out, but since my family has holdings in the area, I happen to know that the city's planning on doing just that, since they don't want to have further development on flat farmland. So any expansion of the urban-rural boundary is just something that's inevitable anyway. So I can't foresee any objection to that, at least not in my judgment. With respect to the stormwater detention basement, if you look at the site plan, it seems fairly substantial. And my understanding, according to your report, is it is capable of handling runoff from a 100-year storm.
Yes, that's correct. It was reviewed by Public Works, Flood Control, and Project Clean Water. And I believe they found that the preliminary plan met their standards, and they will be reviewing a final plan after the project. If should the project be approved, they would review the final plan.
Seems robust to me and interesting, a requirement in light of the fact that you have hundreds and hundreds of acres covered in plastic surrounding the area, but seems more than adequate. And at some point, the final design and installation is going to be signed off by flood control.
Yes, that's
Is that-
correct.
Okay. With respect to traffic, could you give me a little overview of the traffic situation with respect to the on-ramp, Caltrans, and the county transportation department?
We had reviewed that with our Public Works Roads Transportation Division, and we had discussed with Caltrans. Caltrans did have some recommendations which were included as an attachment to the staff report, but those were just that, recommendations, not requirements. And the applicant did not choose to take the options that were mentioned in the traffic study.
So I think I recall from the report that even the county's traffic transportation part of Public Works is indicated due to the low level of anticipated traffic, the current on-ramp, off-ramp will be adequate. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And it was determined that there wasn't really a strong nexus between that situation on the off-ramp and the project. Not strong enough that we could tie the requirement.
Okay, and then just finally, with respect to the Board of Architectural Review, as you cited, they've reviewed the projects and all the recommended changes have been incorporated.
Yes, I believe they recommended it for preliminary and final approval.
Okay, and actually, it's to me an attractive building. Looks not much different than a larger rendition of the many event barns people are creating throughout the county. That I'm not in deliberations yet, so that concludes my questions thus far. Thank you.
Now, okay. I have a couple questions, yeah. I think we might go to a break, but let me just do this one question because it's pretty short. The general plan change, thank you, Mr. Connor, really good staff report. I'm sorry that we didn't talk personally, but it's very, very well done. To change these general plan things take some consideration, and one of the issues was if the orchid area is otherwise built out for similar land uses. And so the text amendment is going to insert or otherwise provided by water and sewer service, right? That's kind of how we're getting this to work with that general plan policy. So did staff do any other analysis in terms of what percentage of commercial lots are built out that would host this kind of a use in the rest of Orcutt? Or does anybody even anecdotally understand if there's another site for this thing?
Yep, Chair Bradley, we did. I mean, we looked at Orcutt and the community, and after working with the applicant and some of the use things that they needed for their project and the size of the parcel and stuff like that. So we couldn't really find another fit in Orcutt. And then again, with the services already be provided on this side and the commercial designation already there, this felt like a better fit for them.
Sure.
Yeah, so we did a bit of an analysis, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no quips about it. I was just wondering if
Yeah.
you went through that exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm a little bit, I did not do a site visit. I did a lot of Google Map looking, and I'm a little bit confused about if I'm in probably an 18-wheel rig delivering this stuff, and I looked at the traffic study a couple times, and even on those exhibits, maybe I'm not understanding the hook ramps and everything to the freeway. So can someone walk me through, and maybe this is actually the applicant's presentation, when deliveries are coming to the site, how is it they're getting off the freeway onto the ramp and to this driveway without blocking the hook from the ramp to Santa Maria Way? And if you'd rather we wait till the applicant, we can do that too.
Let's see if we have that on the aerial.
I know, there's a couple exhibits in the traffic study too, but
Does that show it, Steve, do you think?
and it's probably not even that important. I mean, basically, transportation looked at it and said, because of the low volume of the intersection, they're not concerned about this kind of thing. If it was a higher volume intersection, I would probably have more concerns because you don't want to have the semi-rig blocking the ramp or anything else, but they've concluded it's fine, right?
Chair Bridley, that's correct. It's been reviewed in the traffic study and also by County Public Works. And you can see the off-ramp configuration here on this slide that's shown. We also have Will Robertson from Public Works in attendance here, so if you have any specific questions about that review, he can speak to that.
Okay. Well, maybe related to that is, I know there's a design exception requested, but that's just for an extra wide driveway, right? It's not for approach or turning radii to the site, right?
Chair Bradley, it's actually I guess there's policy in the transportation division where there's a maximum driveway width, and they have actually 2 driveways. One is just an egress only, which is also a design exception. So they would be creating an ingress and egress here. This would be sort of their main entrance, and then they would be creating egress only driveway there. There's also a minimum distance between the edge of the property line, I guess on the south, and the driveway there. That's also a design exception. I believe there are about 3 components to that design exception.
Okay. I see Mr. Robertson here. Why don't we have him come here and soothe my feathers? You heard the questions, right? This is going to be large semi-rigs coming to the site and out, so you've looked at it from all angles, right?
Madam Chair, members of the commission. So actually, I think we might have to steal Steve from the department here. I'm going to train a good traffic engineer. So let's unpack the design exception. The design exception, the department recently, just to apply fairness to all projects, we've really tightened up our standards and deviations from the standards and put in a formal design exception process. So this one had a couple different design exceptions, but the one you reference is simply that a commercial parcel, the entire parcel, cannot exceed 40 total feet in width for their driveways. Doesn't mean they can't have the driveways. It's more of like a red flag for us to double check.
Oh, and it's combined driveways.
Combined
driveway.
Okay. The way it's written, I didn't write the standards, but the way it's written, it says the combination of all driveways on the parcel cannot exceed 40 feet. So just about all commercial driveways would trigger something like this. So it just allows us to go back and look and make sure, do we need multiple driveways to serve the site? Do the driveways make sense? Are they in the proper location for site distance? Can the big rigs get in and out? And as far as the big rigs, we're not overly concerned. It doesn't appear that Caltrans is overly concerned. We do have large vehicles that come past this site to go to the rodeo, to the fairgrounds. It's something that's pretty common out there. Could the geometrics at the intersection be better? I think we all know they could be. Caltrans hasn't moved to make any changes to that intersection. And we have had numerous talks and showed some conceptual layouts of what we could do. But they don't seem to be concerned. Their response letter didn't come back as being concerned. They offered some suggestions, but as Steve mentioned earlier, there really wasn't a nexus for what they were asking. And so I pushed back a little bit and said, okay, that's great if the applicant wants to do it, but point to the nexus. And there wasn't one. So I think Caltrans, if they were really concerned, they could have pointed to a health and safety issue, and it just wasn't there.
Right, just low volume. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the project generates 27 peak hour trips total.
Yeah.
And we don't even require a traffic study until 50 peak hour trips.
Right.
So I think the applicant was generous in actually even providing a traffic study. Obviously, it's needed for review, but I think we could have gotten away with just a trip generation study.
Right.
And walked away from it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think that's probably my only questions. Let me double check. Yes, it is. So with that, I think we want to take a quick break to talk about something with staff. Just 5 minutes, and then we'll come back for the applicant's presentation. Welcome, Ms. Macon. We know you. 10 minutes, go.
Good morning, Chair Bradley, members of the commission. My name is Gallery Macon, here representing this project. I'm here today with some of the design team and the owner and president of FAMCON, and I'm going to have him speak at the end of the presentation. In addition to our project team, we have our incredible staff that feels like part of our team and has been super helpful. We had some sort of twists and turns at the end of this, and really appreciate their help and guidance through the process. Steve did a wonderful job presenting, so a lot of this is a repeat, but I'll just go through it quickly. There's 3 aspects to the request: the development plan, the rezone, and the general plan amendment. So the development plan, again, it's about 4 acres total size. The building is split up between office and warehouse, about 1/3 office and 2/3 warehouse. There's 18 parking spaces and about 8 full-time employees. So they have a existing facility in Santa Maria, in the city of Santa Maria, and that one will close down when this one is up and running. And that one's about 1 acre. So this would really allow that expansion. So the general plan amendment, as we spoke before, the urban-rural boundary line is being relocated to include the parcels that have existing utilities, public utilities to them. And we show where the water and sewer mains are within that polygon. And so it includes more than just our parcel, but the surrounding parcels that also have that access. So if another parcel within this area wanted to come in and apply for that rezone, then they wouldn't need to do the general plan amendment. They can just apply for that rezone. So it was kind of a compromise. And then, again, the zoning map change. The color coding doesn't even really change from the maps. It's all commercial. So going from the highway commercial to the general commercial. And then here's just some points of interest. We've got the Career Technical Education Center to the east of the site, the Polished Pet location that's sort of in the middle. And then you see the Elks Event Center in Santa Maria Rodeo Grounds. We have no objections from any of our immediate neighbors. And in fact, there's some synergy with the school and what this business can offer in terms of education and trade school options. And then the rodeo grounds, so FAMCON is only open during the week, so they're closed on the weekends and they close in the evening, so there's not a lot of conflict and combined traffic with the rodeo grounds. So just a quick overview. Here's a rendering of the site. As Will Robertson explained, the project trip generation doesn't even trigger the study. It's sort of, it's completely, what's the word? But it's screened out of even getting studied. And again, they've outgrown that existing facility in the city of Santa Maria. It's highly successful business, and it's sort of a good thing that they've outgrown it, and this seems to be a really great option for them to move into. To close, I'd like to bring up Steve Penza, the owner and president, just to give you a brief history on the company, because it is a really great business and what they offer to the community.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Steve Penza, and I'm the president and owner of FAMCON Pipe. Our company began in 1904 supplying irrigation material, manufacturing concrete pipe for the farmers in Ventura County. In the 40s, it was sold to the Creason family. In 1985, my wife and I, who were just engaged, I don't know why this happened, but we pooled our money from our savings and purchased FAMCON for $32,000. Our first year in business, we had 4 employees and did a whopping $372,000 in sales. It wasn't looking very good. We sold waterworks, irrigation, and industrial products to contractors and municipalities. In 1994, we added a dry utility company to accentuate our business. Just as a side note, last week, we celebrated our 40th year in business. Our Oxnard location now has 28 employees. In 2015, 2016, we began to develop relationships with many municipalities and contractors in the Santa Maria area. As you can see from the slide, we now sell to all the municipalities on the Central Coast. In 2017, we were urged by many of them, the municipalities, as well as Vince Lopez Jr., Kirk Construction, Whitaker, Broff, and R. Baker to open a branch in Santa Maria. In August of 2018, we were able to make a dream a reality. Thanks to Vince Lopez Jr.'s generosity, we were able to lease one of his buildings. We started with 4 employees, and we now have 8. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we have outgrown this facility. We have been looking for a new home for the last 3 years. We firmly believe Founders Avenue is the perfect place for us. The next slide, arrow. We're a very family-oriented company and have very many loyal employees. 5 employees have been with us over 30 years, 10 over 20 years, and 7 over 10 years. All of our employees in Santa Maria are from the local area. We support all our employees and their families. We are one of the few companies in our industry that have a child care reimbursement program. We do our best to support those employees and their families, schools, sports teams, and charities whenever we can. We try to figure out the best way to be a good neighbor, but also try to see where we can assist other entities as well as our presence in the area. A perfect example of this is the Career Technical Education Center, who would be our neighbor. I called their main office about 1.5 years ago to inquire about who their internet provider was. During the discussion with their principal, I brought up the possibility of providing some of their students the opportunity to attend some presentations and technical classes that we put on for our municipal customers. There also might be field trip opportunities for the students, sponsored by a few of our manufacturers as well. I think this could be a great opportunity for both of us. While we may be the largest locally owned independent waterworks supply house in the Central Coast in the Tri-County region of Ventura, our culture has never changed since our early days. Our motto is always to think and act like you're just a little old FAMCON pipe. Commissioners, if there ever was a true definition of an American success story, it would be FAMCON pipe. We are hopeful that you will help us have a permanent home here. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually have a question, and I think Commissioner, don't leave. Commissioner Reed, did you have a question? Your light's on.
I had a question, sure. You said you expanded your business to dry utilities.
Yes.
What is that?
Underground power and communication material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in terms of your operations, is it mainly just warehousing and distribution?
Yes.
Do you do anything in terms of rebuilding valves or anything? It's just
No, sir.
simply a logistics and distribution?
No, sir. Just
Great.
distribution.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question too.
Yes.
I see that you have a lot of public agencies as your clients, and that's understandable since they have the Public Works Department, but do you ever also supply developers? Because we're looking at all these housing projects coming in.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first part.
Well, would you also ever supply developers with pipes?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Most of the time, our material is sold through the contractor who works for the developer.
Okay.
Sometimes if the developer wants the material early and wants to pay for it instead of the contractor, they'll deal with us direct,
Okay.
but very rarely.
All right. Good to know.
I had a quick question, if I could.
Yes.
Thank you. So right now, you're operating off Donovan, if I'm correct?
Off of Carlotti?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So going from that congested place to over here is a great.
Oh, it'll be,
breath of
I
relief.
mean,
Okay.
I hate to say this, but we literally have put material in the parking lot.
No. Okay.
I mean, it's a great problem to have, but that's where we're at now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so were there any other comments from the applicant's presentation? That concludes it, right?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're so polite. Okay, with that, we need to hear from County Council.
Chair Bradley, before you get into deliberations, we'd like to just request Commissioner Reed clarify for the record that any of his family's holdings are further than 1,000 feet from the subject property, and there will be no conflict of interest with his participation here.
Little cleanup thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned family holdings, but they're separated from this particular parcel by at least one parcel to the north, to the east, and to the southeast. We kind of, we have no relationship with FAMCO, and anything that happens with respect to this process will really be of no consequence to our farming and land leasing operations. Excuse me? I believe so. Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, that concludes our staff presentation, our applicant presentation, and this is the time when we go to public comment. I have 2 speaker slips. Is there anyone online that wants to address us?
No speakers online.
All right. Then we're going to start with Vince Lopez, whose name we have heard before. And if you can limit it to 3 minutes, but frankly, if you go to 5, we're not going to be upset.
Good morning, Commission. Vince Lopez, I'm the owner of V. Lopez Jr. & Sons, one of the owners. FAMCON is currently our tenant in our property that we own on Carlotti Drive. And unfortunately for us, they've outgrown it, but it's a good thing. We've had a long relationship with FAMCON, buying parts from them in Oxnard and for various projects. And we are grateful that they moved here. It makes it a lot easier. Their customer service is top notch. And as you can see, they've made many relationships with cities and the counties, supplying them with the materials we need for utility projects. And I'd hate to see them go from my property, but it's for the best. They need more room, and I think they found the right site. And so we look forward to hopefully you guys approving the project and to keep our excellent relationship with FAMCON going. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our second speaker is Stephen Geis. I think I pronounced that correctly.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Stephen Geis. I am the branch manager, a little nervous, sorry, for FAMCON. Me personally, I moved up here in 1996 from the Ventura area, went to Cal Poly, graduated, learned by doing stuff there. And Steve hired me about 7 years ago, and I worked at a big corporate company. Have been in this area since 96. But when I went to work with Steve, it's family oriented, and that's really what I've always been about, working for someone that's family oriented. So having this place now that I work at, I absolutely love it, and my employees do too. Not us, my employees, our employees that work with us, with Steve here. We really take pride in working here, in Santa Maria especially too, because there was a need for something like this here. So besides the fact that we are only open, 6:30 to 5 during the week, we do open on the weekends for emergencies too. So we're very a critical business, so to speak, in case we're those people behind the scenes, say when the news crew shows up and there's a water main break, we're the guys opening the doors to get in the parts to fix the water main. So you never see us because we're hiding in the shadows. But so we're a very steady business. We've been here for a long time. We want to keep sticking around. So I apologize for my nervousness, but
Can't even tell.
shows.
There's not even a hint of,
okay.
of nervousness. So you're fine.
And to reiterate the fact for you on our truck deliveries, we probably have just a few a week as far as the big trucks that come in.
Okay.
Because we have such a big facility, we can house our stock. So we need to bring multiple trucks. Like Home Depot has 15 trucks a day.
Right.
We're 3 or 4 a week, and there's only 8 of us anyway, so we can't really handle much more.
Okay.
So it's not a big traffic area, and we just want to stay small and grow our families here and, call our new place home. So hopefully we can get approval. So I appreciate your time, and once again, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, Commissioner Reed.
I have just one little, because you're like the operations manager.
Yeah, I'm the sales manager. So
Okay, but I just noticed in the presentation, it says you coordinate your operations to the bell schedules at the technical school.
We can, yeah. So I wasn't aware of this as well, but being that it's a technical school, we have trainings all the time for our agencies. underground utility companies and stuff like that. So we could train these kids as far as the trades groups go, you know, putting pipe together and seeing how pipe gets put together and knowing the intricacies of our infrastructure is huge, you know, and then they can put this practicality of, instead of just looking at a book, they can see, oh, this is how these parts are made. They put these together, and this is your water parts. This is where your poop flows through. You know, people are, when they can put it's just a lot easier. It's like learn by doing, like Cal Poly. So I'm very excited to have this facility to help these kids and teach them and bring them over, and it'd be great. So kind of brings back the fact of where I went to school. I can kind of push that on to these kids too. So hopefully.
All right, thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Oh, Mr. Penza.
Just
Sure.
one point of clarification. 2 weeks ago, we received the bell schedule from the school, from Morgan with Gelleray's company, and we ran that bell schedule by our logistics manager who oversees all the dispatching of trucks and loading of material. There won't be any problem at all with that school, and we'll make doggone sure that there's no problems.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our public comment.
As I said earlier, I think it's nice to see a piece of property that's been unused for decades to be brought to a higher and better use. I think the applicant has provided ample information on the fact that this project is going to meet all of the standards required by county with respect to its development. And I think it's pretty clear that it's going to be a real asset, both in terms of enabling us to accommodate what seems to be a pretty fine family-oriented company that will provide a valuable service to the county, as well as even a bonus of enhancing the technical and practical education that the high school district is seeking to increase. So I would certainly be in favor of taking the recommended actions and helping this project on its way to ultimate approval and being built.
Commissioner Park?
I'm going to support the approval of this project, but I want to tell you why. It's interesting here in the Planning Commission, sometimes the matters we have are sort of mediating neighborhood disputes. Sometimes they're staring down to the last detail of CEQA compliance. I like this project because it's actual planning. I feel like, hello, we're real planners here. And planning to me, land use, and I'm of course oversimplifying, is locating the right spot for the right things. And that's what this is all about. When I think about this, or when this first came to my attention, this particular application, I hearkened back to our hearing, whenever it was, a year or two ago, on initiating the rezone. And it got me thinking about where's the right place for this kind of a business. It's not in the city. It's not in crowded neighborhoods. It's not where there's congestion. It's just where it is as you go up 101 in the Tri-County area. You start in Camarillo, there's a whole lot of businesses just like yours along the freeway, and they have freeway access, and the trucks can get on and off, and it doesn't bother anybody. Buellton, closer to where I live, on the east side of 101, north of Buellton, same kind of thing. Business after business. It has outdoor supply, heavy construction materials. You go to Paso Robles, you go to King City, Salinas. I mean, it works. And we should say, well, if it works, let's adjust our urban boundaries and our zoning designations and all the technical requirements to fit something that works in the practical sense. So that's what I'm all about, and I'm going to support it. I listened patiently to the questions and answers about traffic and bringing Mr. Robertson up here. And thank you, Mr. Robertson, for coming up here. But I kept thinking, is there anybody, a planning commissioner, a staff person, a member of the public, the applicant, anyone in the world that sees a problem with this or has an objection? And the answer is no, as far as I could denote that. So since there is none of that, it kind of leaves me with the obvious, let's vote yes and move on. So thank you for being here.
Do we see anything from Commissioner Cooney?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a pretty easy project to review. All the questions were answered early on, both in the staff report and in the subsequent presentations today. I will say to Ms. Macon, it's about time you gave us a softball instead of all the Isla Vista apartments. And so I will be in full support of the project.
Commissioner Martinez, do you have anything to add? Deliberations?
Nothing to add.
Okay. I have a couple thoughts. And long ago and far and away, when we were doing land development, especially in the South Coast, and that was different than the North County, there was a rigid belief that your urban-rural boundary line never should change. I mean, it was solid. And it was a point at which environmentalists would lay down their life to protect. So when I read this, I thought, oh, well, this is kind of a big deal. But I love the way the Orchid Community Plan talked about options. Like if everything is built out in Orchid, then look elsewhere, right? And then I had to remind myself of what we've just been through with the housing element. The way the state and now the county and all the agencies they're in is doing planning is 180 degrees different than what it was doing 5 years ago. If not 300, well, not 360, because we'd be right where we are. So I realize this is actually a very good site for the project. No questions whatsoever. I appreciated Commissioner Reed's perspective on it historically, and as much as the Orchid Community Plan envisioned this polygon area that was, going to be relatively contained, it does have the commercial zone, and it was for the Elks thing that hasn't panned out the way it was going to. So this is a beautiful, beautiful fit to that area. And I partially apologize for the fact that it required a general plan amendment and a rezone and everything else. But I don't apologize because that's thoughtful planning from when we did the community plans originally. So I'm in full support of the project, and I think it's really a pleasure to hear from a family business with employees that are, long-standing and are very community-oriented as well. That's a pleasure. So I'm in full support of the case, too. So with that, we would look for a motion, including the minor corrections that staff provided to us in their memo of June 9th for recommendations to the board. It's not, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and adopt the recommended action.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Reed.
Yes.
It's a technicality that we have to recommend to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah.
They have it actually on the screen.
Okay, that we make a motion to recommend to the Board of Supervisors the actions included in the memo of June 9th that we just received from Steve Connor. And those reflect these exact actions. So that would be my motion.
I'll second it.
All righty. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, let's do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Cooney.
Aye.
Commissioner Park.
Aye.
Commissioner Reed.
Aye.
Commissioner Martinez.
Aye.
Chair Bradley.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Very good. Thank you. Oh, we normally don't allow clapping or booing, but we're done.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, before we leave, I just wanted to bring one thing back up, which is the projection report. I know this is a ways off, but and we'll all probably forget. But we are moving the July 30th hearing to Santa Maria because both of those projects, one is in Buellton and one is in Lompoc,
Oh, good.
And the Lompoc project may have a number of public speakers, so we wanted to have that located in a location that's.
Oh, good. I was going to ask
Accommodate
why.
those speakers.
Yeah, we should do it in Santa Maria. Yeah.
I just know that July 30th, I know I won't be here, but you'll probably have enough.
You will not be, here? Is
I
that-
won't be here. That's
okay.
my 1 week of vacation.
Okay. So noted. With that, I think we adjourn, right?